Welcome to the Bradling Podcast, your home for expert wedding planning advice. Today we're going to give you a few tips on meeting with your florist. It's important to be prepared when you're meeting with any wedding professional before you hire them, so your meeting not only tells them exactly what you need, but also so you can get an accurate quote from them. We've made a floral cheat sheet for you. It'll help you figure out not only what you need the day of, but your florist can take it and easily make a quote for you. But before we get started on how to download our floral cheat sheet, I want to give you some tips on meeting with your florist. After you've selected your florist for your wedding day, it's important to communicate details during your meetings. This ensures your wedding day flowers translate how you envision them to be. The first item that you need to be able to discuss when you meet with your florist: budget. Sometimes florists can help meet your budget by substituting different flowers that maybe look somewhat similar or have the same color and size, but are a lot less expensive. Your florist will also know which flowers are in season and what they can easily get around your wedding date to create your wedding day florals. Having a number in mind can be really important for the florist. Sometimes they have a minimum before they will come and do setup and delivery on site. And sometimes they have a minimum just to take an order in general because they can only do so many weddings in a single day. Number two, you're going to want to have examples with you of what you like. You don't necessarily have to have exactly what you want already laid out in mind because your florist can help you with that. But at least having a Pinterest board or some photos of things that tend to be your style can help your florist kind of know what you like when they're offering different recommendations of things to do to decorate your wedding. Next, you want to talk about setup and delivery. Speaking with your florist about your preference and their availability for setup and delivery is going to be really important. Some florists will take orders where it's pickup only because it doesn't meet a delivery minimum, or because maybe they don't deliver to a certain venue that might be too far away. Discussing how important setup and delivery is something that you should do early on, so not only you understand the price, but also you can book your florist early and make sure that they're available on your wedding day. Now let's talk about a few things that you're going to need to know to even be able to get a quote, and probably for you just to be able to have all the flowers you need for your wedding day. First, we want to talk about bouquets. There's always going to be a bride, bridesmaid, and a toss bouquet if you are choosing to toss the bouquet. The bride's bouquet is going to be the most customized, specifically just for them. It'll probably have the most high-end flowers in it compared to some of the other florals in the order. And more than likely, it's going to be the most expensive piece, or at least one of the most expensive pieces in the entire order. Next, bridesmaids' bouquets can be utilized as centerpiece decor if you want during the reception, but it can be a little bit tricky having photos after the ceremony and getting the reception decorated quickly. These might mimic the bride's bouquet, or it just might complement it because it has a less expensive arrangement of florals in it, but also pairs nicely with the bride's bouquet. The toss bouquet is used for the bouquet toss during the reception. It's something really simple. I usually put it on the cake table or the guest book table prior to needing it during the reception. Often it'll mimic either the bride's bouquet or bridesmaid's bouquets, and is something that's really small and simple. Next, you're going to need boutonnieres for the groom, groomsman, ring bearer, father of the bride, father of the groom, grandfathers, and possibly your officiant or minister, and any ushers or other attendants that you choose to have participate in part of your ceremony. The groom usually can have a customized, more unique boutonniere, just like the bride's bouquet. So maybe it'll have the biggest rose of all the roses, or a high-end, a little bit fancier flower than the rest of the boutonnieres. Traditionally, it's pinned on the left lapel of the suit or tux jacket. Next, corsages. It kind of mimics the boutonniere. So just like dads get boutonnieres, my mother of the bride, mother of the groom, and grandmothers are going to get a corsage. Sometimes people will give the flower girl a corsage, but often they get something else like petals. Also, if you're going to have any attendants, they might get a corsage as well. So if you have a program attendant passing out programs before the ceremony, that would be an example of somebody that you would want to get a corsage for. You can choose for them to be placed on the wrist or on the right side of the chest. Now, I will say that sometimes ladies don't like to have corsages pinned on to their dress because it might prick at the chiffon or whatever fabric it's made out of. So I tend to suggest a wrist corsage instead. Next, we need to talk about the flower girl. And for the flower girl, you're going to want to have flower petals if you're using a basket. I've also seen flower balls, and I've also seen a flower girl that had kind of like a little mini bouquet because she was a little bit older. Might be considered a junior bridesmaid. And then you're going to want to consider any flowers for hair. If the flower girl is going to have a halo or a flower crown, or if the bride is going to have one. Or often I see flowers tucked into hair as part of when people are getting ready. And that's something that if you want specific flowers to tuck into your hair, go ahead and tell your florist and don't count on just having some left over because well, if you're the bride, you're going to be in tons of pictures, and so are those flowers. So the florist is really going to want to be particular about what flowers they give you so they look their best. If you wait around and just take the leftovers, you might not get the best looking flowers. Next, ceremony and reception flowers. You might want to have a wedding arch, doorways, aisle decor, and then, of course, chair decor, centerpieces, the cake and cake table, guest book, gift table, memory table, and maybe even the bar if you want to decorate that as well. Depending on your design for your wedding, a simple or an elaborate approach for any ceremony and reception flowers can create the perfect look unique to you. We recommend hiring a wedding pro like a florist. Making your flowers for your own wedding is something that has to be done a couple of days in advance, and it can be extremely stressful. And I don't know if you've ever tried to make a bouquet before, but it's really difficult to make them be the right shape and size and look correct. So if you're going to be meeting with a wedding professional like a florist, we've got a floral cheat sheet that can help you try to figure out everything that you need and make your meeting run really smoothly. To download that, you can just follow the link below. And as always, for more expert wedding planning advice, just follow us at the Bride Link.